thing. Okay, cool. Hey guys, sorry about that. Apparently there was no sound. Okay, so I'm here, last minute live stream. And I don't know what you guys think of my new hairdo. It's very 60s, very posh. And I'm going to do the whole thing. So you should be able to hear me now. It's There you go. Okay, cool. So there's a little bit of delay. So I'm reading your comments, and but now you should be able to hear me. Okay, so hopefully you like my hair. And today we're going to make an illustration using Sketch app. And usually Sketch app is used for UI, UX design, for flows, for wireframing, for even making prototypes. And just like if you're designing for web or if you're designing for mobile apps, Sketch app is your is the app that probably you want to use. But something that I realized that for a long time I have kept my illustration work to Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator, or uh, or my hairstyle is funny. Thank you. To Illustrator or Photoshop, and since Sketch was, I don't think they when they were making it, they were trying to make it an illustration app. It was more of like probably icon design and probably some like UI design, but not illustration. But I think they have made their vector tools really powerful, and not as powerful as Illustrator, but you can still make really cool basic illustrations using this really simple app. And so if you're thinking about like moving to Sketch, or if you're thinking about like, hey, should I use Sketch for my illustrations? Hopefully this video will help you like start making illustrations with this program. So, okay, so let me switch to the screen. And yesterday I made this. Hold on, let me change this. Yesterday I made this. Oh, by the way, now you're able to see the comments there. So it's kind of like an Inception comments in there if you are here watching live. So you will see that I made Vimo, which I love, from Adventure Time. It's one of my favorite characters there. And I chose Vimo because it's just like such like a one lovable character, but also it's just like a really plain that uses really basic shapes that looks like a Game Boy. So it's a really cool character to illustrate. And today we're gonna do it live. Actually, let me show you the video of how I made it yesterday. This is how the video looked like. So this is a sped up video. This is exactly what we're going to do today. I'm just going to do it live for you. All of those, I went through the character, all those shapes, I put the all those little shapes and then make them 3D, look like it is 3D, but it's not real 3D. And then moving to the legs and all of that. And probably we'll do a little bit more than just that. And then put a little bit of shadows, little details, and that's it. That was what we're going to do today, but a little bit slower. So so let's go ahead and do that. I have another page here on Sketch, and I have here just as an inspiration. This is an image from the actual from Adventure Time. This is Vimo, so we're just going to use it as an inspiration, just as a guide. But we're not going to do exactly this illustration. So let's go ahead, and the first thing that we want to do is create a rectangle shape. And hi, when I copy and paste in different order, that's not basis. Okay, so I'll answer some of your questions later, but I'll start making this illustration. I see in some of your questions here. So the first thing, let's create a rectangle. Let's add a little bit of radius here. I go over here on the right side and I add a radius because, as you can see, his face, his front dashboard is rounded. So I added a little bit of that, and then I'm going to make his color is a little bit greenish bluish. And now, yes, so somebody's saying, I'm bad at drawing. Can I be a good illustrations? Ignore a stupid question. The cool thing is that, yes, you don't have to be really good at drawing as long as you're good with the program and you have an idea of what you want to do. So let me, I think it's around this. This is the color of the shape. Let me actually, with the eye picker, I can actually get, so it's a little bit darker and less saturated. So yeah, okay, let's use that color that we took from the real BMO. And let me do this a little bit bigger. There you go. So, and then I press, I'm going to make this, the width of it a little bit lower. And there you go. I was wondering if you could see my, okay. Anyway, so here you go. Here you got it. Oh man, there's an offset on my, sorry guys, I'm realizing that there's an offset on my my cursor. You see my cursor should be, ah, this program sucks. Apparently it's like 100 pixels up. Anyway, okay, let's continue. So I make my rectangle, it's rounded corners, and then I'm going to duplicate this guy. I'm going to duplicate it around here. So I can duplicate by option dragging, and then I duplicate it, or I can just Command C, Command V, and now I have another copy here. And then this one I'm going to make it a little bit lighter, just around there. And then I'm going to make it go backwards over here with this button on the top. And then now that I have this, I'm going to add more points to it. So I'm going to add a point here, and then I'm going to move this point over here. And probably we want to zoom in a little bit so we can like see exactly what's going on. So there you go. Now I add a new point here. I'm going to add another point here just to make it look like 3D. And this is just the background. And that's good enough. You can get a little bit more exact with your points if you want to actually make it perfect. But for now, this is good. This is good enough. And then we need a panel over here for the shadow on its right side or left side panel. And now this guy is going to be probably, I'm going to move this point around here, around there, and then just around there. That's around there. And then as you can see here on the line goes like in the middle of the roundness of the front. So I want to make this around there and then move this point a little bit here. There you go. And now this guy, I'm going to select the same color as the front, just going with the color picker. Select the same color and I make it a little bit darker. So just here on the color picker, just make it a little bit darker, and that way it will be my shadow. And now that I have this, I'm going to select this and the background that I created before. I'm going to select those two, and then I'm going to select from the right click, and then I'm going to select mask. That way I just have the background and the shadow as one group. And then I'm going to move it backwards to the back, and now I have it here. And now it looks like a little like the shadow here, and I can see there's a little bit missing here. Let me zoom in so you can see that guy that's not perfect. So I'm going to move this point so it's perfect around there, and I'm realizing the mask is not perfect either. So I'm going to edit the mask too. So that's one of the I'm going to block this so I can just edit this guy. Going to move this point so it doesn't go. There you go. Perfect. Around there. That's good. That's good enough. And now I'm going to unlock this. Unlock from the layers list. There you go. Okay, cool. So now I have my body made, done. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. Let me. That's as good as it gets. It could probably be a little bit thicker. You know what? Let's do it. Why not? So I'm going to actually move the whole thing 10 pixels to the left and probably 1, 2, 3, 4 pixels to the right. Sorry, to the top. And then I'm going to, let me zoom in so you can see what's going on. I'm going to edit this guy again. I'm going to move it again around there. And then this guy again around there. And then again, I need to edit the mask. Let's move the mask so it looks good. Around there. That's good. And then this point over here needs to be moved to around there. Okay, cool. That's good enough. We gave ourselves a little bit more space on the side. There you go. Let's move this to the center. It's I'm seeing it's still not perfect. Let me move this a little bit more. There you go. I think that looks better. If you're like me, you're never going to get it right. You're just going to always be perfecting this until you have it. There you go. That's good. That's good enough. Now let's move on. The next thing that we're going to do is the screen of the face. So I'm going to use the rectangle tool. The rectangle tool, by the way, you can just press R, and then you get the rectangle tool, or you can select it over here from the tools on the top. Okay, so I now have this guy. I'm going to also add a little bit of radius here on my panel on the right, and that's around good. And I'm going to make this a really light green too, probably around there. And then I'm going to center it with this guy, with the front. It's centered, and now, okay, let's continue. So the next thing I'm going to add on the side, you see that it has a speaker, and it has the BMO. It says BMO on the side. So let's go ahead and do that. Whereas the speaker and BMO, the letters. So I think VMO. I mean, we could probably draw the letters, but let's just use a good font for that. And I think a good font for that will be Arial Black. So I know some of you will be like really mad that I'm using Arial, but I don't care. Let's use Arial Black. That's pretty close enough, just like a really bold font. And let's make it a little bit bigger. And probably this needs to be. Let's take actually the color with the color picker. There you go. Now it's the same color, and now let's just start drawing the speaker. The speaker, as you can see, is like a hexagon. So let's, just as a guide, I'm going to use the polygon tool, and I'm going to draw an hexagon here. By default, when you put the polygon tool, it gives you a pentagram, but you just add here on the right side, you just add one more point, and now you have an hexagon. So that's about it. And usually the hexagon is actually, let's rotate it, I think it will be 30 pixels. Yeah, 30 pixels. And now it's the actual shape of the speaker. So there you go. Hold on. You know what? Actually, no. That's before it's rotated. So it stays the same. So, and now that I have this, let's actually add the little dots of the speaker. So let me zoom in there so we can actually see it happening. So again, I'm just using this as a guide. So I'm going to start actually drawing my little dots, my little speaker holes, and I'm going to select the same color as this. And let's add this, guys. So around there, I think around there is good. And then now let's actually center them just in case I'm missing something. And now I'm going to group this. Then going to duplicate it by pressing Command V. And then I think it's 30 pixels that I'm going to rotate it. No, it's more, 60. It's 60 pixels. And now I have one edge. And then I'm going to duplicate it again. And this one, I'm going to flip it horizontally here on the right. And now I have this. Awesome. So now all I'm going to do is just add another one in the center of my hexagon. And now I can delete my hexagon, and I don't need it anymore because it was just a guide. I'm going to ungroup all of these, and then I'm going to create a new group with them. So there you go. Around that's pretty good. So actually, I'm going to make them a little bit bigger. So let's make them 10 pixels. That's about right. 10 pixels, and now let's align it with this guy. Let's make probably BMO this guy a little bit bigger because it's kind of the same size as you can see here. So let's align this to the center. And now I want to make the text converted to outlines. So I'm going to right click on the text, and then over here on the bottom, you can see convert to outlines. And then now that it's converted to outlines, I can actually edit this guy, and I can select. So someone is asking, why am I using Sketch over Illustrator. That is that was part of the introduction, where it's like I was just trying to say that, hey, you can. I usually use Illustrator for this kind of stuff, but I don't know. I started to challenge myself to see if I could use a Sketch for illustrations too. And I realized that for most of my illustration work, which is like really simple stuff, I just I can keep just using a Sketch over Illustrator. So that's why. It's more of a challenge. Anyway, okay, we have these two guys. I'm going to group them. I'm going to group them, and then I'm going to rotate them 90 degrees. Now that I have them at 90 degrees, a cool tool from, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, just so it's around there. And I'm going to actually make the height of it a little bit smaller too, because it has to be around there. And I don't like how it looks actually. Let me, there you go. Okay, around there is good. I don't know, something weird happened there with the speaker circles, but whatever, it's good for now. So now that I have this here, I'm going to ungroup it, Command-Shift-G. So I am grouping the whole thing, and I'm going to select the whole thing again. So I have everything selected, ungrouped. It has to be ungrouped. And now I'm going to go to the Transform tool. So with the Transform tool, it allows you to like 3D transform as this, with like skew stuff. So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool tool. So I wanted to have like the same angle as over here on the top. So now that I have it, I'm going to group it again. Now it's grouped. Oops, sorry. Now it's grouped, and now I can just align it, and there you go. Now I have my side, and let's compare it again with this guy. It's not perfect, but it's almost there. It's good. If you ever want to go a little bit more perfectionist, you can go ahead and do that. So now we have this, and let's start adding the controls. The controls, as we can see, is like I don't know, like a Game Boy, where it has buttons and it has the crosshair, sorry, the controls. It's not a joystick. What do you call this? Anyway, that thing, and then a button here and some inputs. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead, and the first thing I'm going to do, is it a joystick? It's not a joystick. What do you call this? Control stick? It's not a stick though. Anyway, I think this is a yellow color. So let's select here on our colors, like a yellowish color. Around there, that's good. And now let's duplicate, Command-C or Command-V, or just Command-V. And I duplicate it, and we're going to rotate this 90 degrees. Okay. Now that it's rotated, D-pad, that's how you call it. Thank you, Victor. Thank you for correcting me. Now I have this guy, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to group it, and I'm going to duplicate it. And now that it's duplicated, I'm going to move it a little bit here. Yeah, somebody told me that it's called a D-pad. And yes, thank you for my hairstyle. I know it's beautiful. It's you are beautiful too, my Callaway things. Okay, now I have this. Oh, Callaway things. I know who you are, Andrew. Okay, now I'm going to move my little points here, and all these points to make it look like it's 3D. How awesome is this? Oh yeah, by the way, let's change the actual colors of it so you can see what's going on here. So I have this guy and this guy. I'm going to make the yellow a little bit darker. Now you see what's going on, right? Okay, there you go. And now I'm going to select this guy over here. I'm going to add another point, and then right there, and then I'm going to add another point here. Right there, beautiful. Look at that D-pad, it's perfect. So now, again, what I did was I created first this guy, just across with two rectangles. You can see there's two rectangles. And then I just duplicated it and moved changed the color of it to make it a little bit darker. And then I just added some points to make it look like 3D, just connected the points. That's cool, right? So we created a 3D effect on Sketch app. How cool is that? Okay, now let's do the next. It's a triangle. Triangle is easy. There's already a triangle tool here on Sketch, so you can just select this guy, and let's give it a blue color around there. There you go. I like that color. Love that blue. And now let's duplicate this guy. Now that it's duplicated, I can move it around here and around there. And then this guy, I'm going to select the previous one. I'm going to make it a little bit darker. Here are my colors. Look at that. Beautiful. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and now let's make this 3D by adding some points. And again, like before, just moving these guys. I'm going to select this point. I'm going to move it over here. This thing, I mean, if you want to get really into it, you can be perfect with your points. And I wish it like Sketch had a snapping thing. And I'm pretty sure I'm doing something wrong and it's not snapping, or probably something that they're still working on. And I know Illustrator, I know you're going to tell me, oh, Illustrator already does it, Pablo. Why are you using Sketch? And whatever, guys, I'm using Sketch because I hate myself. That's why. Okay, cool. So now let's do the buttons. The buttons, pretty simple, just like the circle. And then now that they're the circle, I think this one is green. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. This one is green. Let's use green over here, light green. Let's go over there. I like that green. Now let's duplicate it over here. And then let's select the previous one. Let's make it a little bit darker. Just the same process over and over. It's just some. How do you make zoom on one place? You zoom by pressing Z, keep it pressed, and then now you have the zoom button, and then you can just draw a rectangle where you want to zoom. And for example, boom, you zoom in there, baby. Okay, cool. That was a question that somebody asked here on the chat. Okay, so now this one is a little bit tricky. It's not going to be perfect, but you get the idea. You got it. You got this. Okay, so let's actually keep one point here. I'm going to delete this point, and I'm going to move this point over here and around there. It's not perfect, but it does the job. Once you zoom out, it starts looking good. Okay, cool. Let's make it a little bit darker, actually. I kind of like it a little darker. Even darker. There you go. Okay, cool. So now, actually, we can group this guy. I'm going to group this button, and I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger because, as you can see over here, the red button from BMO is red and bigger. So just this guy, you can do it by just making it bigger like this, or you can use the scale tool. So the scale tool, you can actually see it by percentage. You can say, and it previews for you how big it is. And I prefer using the scale tool because sometimes it's just like it makes it better, gives you a better result. So now that I have that, I'm going to change the color, select this guy. I'm going to select both of them actually. I'm going to select both of them. I'm going to go to the red hues. I'm going to make, that's a good red around there. Hopefully it's a good red and it's not too sharp for you. I'm colorblind, so I cannot see red that well. And that for me is good enough. So if you think this red should be less red, let me know. Okay, around there, that's looking good, I think. I think it's looking good. Let's align these guys a little bit better. And then this guy, I think I need to group the D-pad. Thank you for correcting me on that. Thank you for telling me what it is. I'm actually going to change the name over here to D-pad because I don't want to make that mistake again. Okay, cool. So now that I have my D-pad and all my controls, now I can start adding more like this box. I suppose is like for a cassette and for a game, and then some inputs. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so that's pretty easy. It's just a rectangle. Around there, and I think this one is a little bit darker. I think it's the same color as this. Let's make it let's add a little bit of round corners. And now this guy, what I can do is make an oval for the other guy, but we can actually just make it a circle with this. How cool is this? You just make it the same height and the same width, which would be probably 16 by 16, and now you have a perfect circle. We made a circle from a rectangle. That's like a very philosophical issue right there. You made a circle from a rectangle. It's not that philosophical actually. Anyway, cool. This guy is a little bit blue, or what is this color? Oh, I want to think it's blue, but we'll know if it's blue or what. Yeah, it's blue. There you go. Again, yeah, I think that's looking good. Let's move this guy around here. Now let's add those inputs here on the bottom. I can just duplicate this rectangle and make it a little bit smaller. There you go. And there you go. How cool is this? How cool is this? It's so simple, right? I think it's the cool thing about like illustrating illustrations with simple shapes like this, where it's just like you start making something really cool with just squares, rectangles, triangles, and circles, and you get BMO. How cool is that? Okay, let's make this a little bit smaller, just like that. I think that the D-pad is a little bit smaller on. Oh, I see what's going on here. This is the D-pad. Hello from Russia. Hello from San Francisco, guys. A lot of people from all over the place. I love it. I love it. Everybody should tell where are you coming from. Are you from Russia? Are you from Mexico? From the United States? Leave in the comments where are you watching us from. That'll be awesome, right? So something that I'm realizing, I don't know if I think or BMO is a little bit too fat. He ate a lot of nachos. That's what happened. So I'm going to make this BMO a little bit thinner. So I'm going to make it going to move this guy and all these points. I'm going to make them 20 pixels. 20 pixels to the right, to the left, sorry. And Sweden, Egypt, that's awesome. 20, and then this guy, I think it's 22? Yeah, 20, and then I'm going to move all these guys 20 pixels to the left. And this guy too. Switzerland. Oh, this is so cool. This is so cool. This is amazing to see people from all over the place here. Okay, so we're almost there. See, now it looks better. It doesn't look as, I know BMO loves to eat his burgers and nachos and his bacon pancakes, but he's not as big. Okay, cool. So let's do the arms. The arms is just a rectangle. Just a rectangle with rounded corners. It's so simple. Just like that, and just like that. That is a really simple arm. We're going to learn how to make it a little bit better in a couple of minutes. For now, let's keep it like this. Really simple. And let's choose a color of it. I'm going to just go ahead and select the color from over here. There you go. Now we have this, and let's make the little feet, his legs. So what I'm doing here, I'm just using the same rectangle from the arm, and then I'm just going to add another one. I'm going to rotate this guy 90 degrees, and then I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, just like that. How cool is this? How simple is this? Just a little bit smaller even. Has his little feet. And then I'm going to align this to the bottom and to the left. There you go. Now we have our feet. And something that I want to add is a little shadow here. It's going to create a cool effect. There you go. I'm going to select the same color. Same color, but just a little bit darker. Just a little bit darker. San Mateo, not that far away, Murat. Palo Alto, that's awesome. We have some neighbors here. Okay, cool. So let's move this guy over here. How cool is this? This is so simple, right? It's that's one of the cool things that I love about Sketch. Just like it allows you to, since the UI is so simple, so minimal, that you can create really cool things with their basic tools. Okay, now we have this. I think it's looking good. Now let's do the face. One of the most important things, right? So let's go ahead. The first thing, just a little eye. Let's take the color from over here. It's already looking cute. Let's just duplicate this circle. And something really simple that you can do is just align this to the center. And then right now, it looks like he's surprised, right? But we want him to be smiling. So from a circle, you can just make with the scissors tool, you can just erase these sides, and then now you have a big smile. How cool is that? It's just a half a circle. And again, let me do that again so you can see what I did. I selected the scissors tool, and uh, I just remove those planes, those vectors. There you go. Now we have it, and that's pretty simple. That's a good way to have it. But let's do something a little bit better with the mouth. What do you say we add a tongue inside? So I'm going to do this. I'm going to add two circles, just two circles like this. And then these guys are going to be a reddish color, reddish pinkish color, just around that. And now I'm going to group these, and then I'm going to select this, my new tongue inside, and then this guy, and then I'm going to right click. I'm going to select mask. Now look at that. Now we have the tongue inside the mouth. That's so cool, right? And it looks more like BMO now. Okay, cool. So now let's scale it a little bit up. Just a big mouth. He's really happy. There you go. Now we want to add the other arm over here. I think it's around there, and then put it all the way to the back. There you go. That's pretty simple. Simplest way of drawing BMO. Something else that we want to do is add a little shadow here. This is a cool trick. Whenever you want to add an inner shadow, you can just select a shape, and then here there's a inner shadow on the right side. So right now it is like that, but I want to make it -1 x and then -1 in the y. And then let's remove the blur to 0. Let's actually make it -2. -2 and -2 here. And now we have a little bit of it looks like a 3D screen. And let's make this a little bit lighter. Instead of 50% on the alpha, let's bring it down to 40. 40 looks good. Or we can go all the way to 20, and that is a little bit more subtle. I think 40 looks good for me. It's a little bit more obvious. There you go. We have BMO almost ready. Let's add a little bit of shadow here with an oval. How cool is this? Just a little oval here on the background, on the back, just around there. That's going to be his shadow. And I'm going to change this to multiply. And I'm going to move it all the way to the back. So why multiply, you're going to say? It's already white, the background. Well, that's a cool thing. If you want to change your background to a different color, your shadow is going to be, going to select the whole artboard, and I can change the background color of it. Something that you cannot do on Illustrator, by the way. I don't know why. That's crazy. It's crazy talk. And now I can change the background color of it. Let's change it to really nice dark bluish, I don't know, like bluish violet, I guess. There you go. That's looking good. You know something else? BMO always has a nice, like his own, what do you call it? His own skateboard. So what if we draw a skateboard? You guys down for that? Let's draw a skateboard. Somebody's visiting us in the morning from Australia. How cool is that? Oh man, so this is so exciting to just see lots of you guys here and joining me live on this little experiment. Okay, cool. So we have the basic shape of the let's draw the whole thing around there. That's the let's draw it outside. That's around the shape of it. Now let's I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to move it around there. I'm going to make this a little bit lighter. There you go. And now I'm going to add the wheels. It's going to be simple with a square. Let's zoom in so we can see what's going on. Press this Z tool, the zoom tool. Then I'm going to add, I never done this, so if I screw up, I'm sorry guys. So let's make this a little bit darker. And now let's add radius to it. Okay, not too much. Around there. You know what? I think it's not going to be perfect. You know what? No, forget this. I know how we're going to do our little I'm going to make it like this. Let me add the color of it around there. And now we can add a rectangle here around there. Oh, it's so annoying. Let me change the background of this guy. Oh God, I'm the worst. Okay, right there. And then I'm going to make it below this. There you go. And now, yeah, you already know what's happening here. Now, this guy, I'm going to combine these union, and now they turn into one shape, and now it looks like a cylinder, right? So over here, it's one circle, and then I join here, I combine two shapes, as you can see here on the layers panel, where it's an oval and a rectangle made a cylinder. How cool is that? And now that we have this, let's add another, let's duplicate this guy, the one on the top. Let's make it a little bit smaller. Let's make it a little bit darker. And now we have, it looks like a sushi roll. Cool. Sorry, Victor. Hopefully, all of this, by the way, all of this is going to be recorded. So probably you'll be able to see it later if you don't have time to stay here. It's okay, guys. You can leave me. It's I won't get mad. I hate you, but I won't get mad. No, of course I don't hate you. Okay, cool. We got it. We got this. How cool is this? We made a wheel. Oh shit, it's awesome. Let's duplicate this guy over here. I think let's make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, it's fat wheels because he's in adventures with Finn and Jake. Okay, around there. He actually never goes in adventures. He just like I love the episode where Vimo thinks he's like a dark noir episode where he's a detective and he's playing around with the toys and the animals and he's just it looks like he's imagining everything, and just like it tells you like how the imagination of Vimo is amazing and he just like lives in his own world and I love it. Anyway, we're making the little axle here. Let's add a rectangle here. Let's add a little bit of roundness. Let's bring it to the back. There you go. It's again, it's not perfect. You can get as good as you want. And so I'm getting a question. How do you skew in Sketch? And we're going to skew this this guy here. So keep tuned and you're going to see how. It's actually pretty easy. Let me make this like that, and I'm going to make this a little bit darker. Da, 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 da. Let's change the color of the actual to probably a yellow. I liking the idea of like an orangey yellow for the skateboard. Let's copy this color for this. Let's make it a little bit lighter. There you go. Now it looks a little bit 3D. And we only need the wheels on the front. We don't need to design the rest of it. But if you want to, you can just duplicate this, of course. You can just duplicate it, and now it looks like the whole thing. And you could probably even make this a little bit larger if you wanted to. But again, for the purpose of this illustration, we don't need the back wheels. But if you want to, you can have it here. And for now, we're only going to need this. So I'm just selecting this. I'm going to move it over here. I'm going to group it just so it keeps grouped. And let's move it all the way to the back. So now it looks like a Vimo has it in his arm, around there. And here's where the magic happens, around there. That's where I think it will be a good point where Vimo would have it. Okay, so now here, I'm going to ungroup this. And let me save it before I do anything, because sometimes I don't trust a sketch when we do this. So for Black Emotion that was asking how do you skew things, I'm going to ungroup this guy. And that's the thing, you have to do it ungrouped. Now that I have everything on, crap. Okay, hold on. I select all these layers. Now I have all these layers selected, and I'm going to do transform. So if you don't have this, go to your customize toolbar and you're gonna find it here. It's where is it? Anyway, here, yeah, here. You see this guy transform. I'm adding it here again, and now I'm using it again. So now that you use transform, you're able to skew stuff. How cool is this? Whoa! It's not perfect 3D, of course, but it gives you a good starting point. So there you go. Now let's I'm going to press enter, and now I have everything. Now I'm going to group it again. So I'm going to move this guy around here. There you go. I think it's looking good. Um, it's looking a little bit cheesy here. Probably this could have been done a little bit better, but you guys are, I'm pretty sure that you're going to perfect this, going to make it a little bit better than what I'm doing here. Something that I want to do is move the arm to the back, and then not only that, but also I want to add the hand on top of it. So I'm going to copy the arm, Command C, Command V, and then I'm going to put it forward. And now that it's forward, I'm going to make it look like it's the hand that is holding it. How cool is this? You know, like it's the little hands, and you can make it be the fingers instead of just the hand, but it's up to you. And now I'm going to select this. I'm going to move it a little bit like this. Around there is good. Loving this. Look at it. He's so happy. He's about to go on one of his imaginary adventures, I'm sure. There you go. So that's it. That's a pretty standard way of oh yeah, Command T in Photoshop. Yeah, like Command T exactly. So that's a pretty basic way of doing a VMO. Something, if you want to go into a little bit more detail, you can start adding more fills. So for example, to this guy, if you wanted to have a little bit of a light, you can add another fill here on the panel. So now it has like this little gradient, and you can going to make it look like the light is coming from the top right. And I'm going to move this guy around there. And instead of normal, I'm going to change this to screen. And now it looks like it has a tiny little glare on the top. How cool is that? So let me move it. So it just has a tiny glare here. And actually, I'm going to save this to my document gradients. So now I have it saved here. And I'm going to add it over here too. So I'm going to add another fill here, and I'm going to use the one that I just saved. I'm going to make it screen again. Screen, I'm going to make it just like that. It's just a little detail, and it's not that obvious, but it's there. And it's cool. You can go ahead, and if you want to, you can add the same to these guys, where you add another gradient, and it's going to be the same gradient, and all of them is going to be screen. And just like that, look at that. How cool is that? It's easy peasy. Okay, guys, so that's it. That's it's an easy way to make a VMO. You can, we'd love to see if you guys create your own, and if you post it, you can post it on Twitter. You can follow me on. Let me change the screen here, and we're changing here. So yeah, that was how to create your own VMO. How do you like my hair? Looking fabulous. And so hopefully you can share your creations on Twitter. My handle is Pablo Stanley. And I would love to see what you create with Sketch. Using Sketch, that's the challenge. Using Sketch to create an illustration, whatever you want, something cool, a robot, a hot dog, whatever you want. I would love to see your illustrations and share them with the world. And don't forget to tag me, Pablo Stanley, and also probably Sketch app so they can notice what you guys are creating. So that's it. Let's take another last look of how this our creation. How cool is this? How cool is this? Okay, so now I'm going to try to answer questions. San Mateo, a lot of people from everywhere. I think I did answer all the questions. So sometimes copy and paste different artworks, a lot of times it's not it's moved by 1 or 2 pixels. Dr. Kokai, I'll have to see that with you. That's I've never seen that before, so probably it's something in your settings. Uh, anyway, cool. Thank you so much for joining me, and I love you so much. Mwah. Hold on, let me move this so you can see my full hair. Mwah, mwah, mwah. So, thank you. See you again. Probably next weekend I'll do another live stream. And if you have any suggestions of what to do in the next live stream, send me a message on Twitter too, or here on YouTube. And love you guys. Thank you. Bye bye. How do I stop this?